NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 43, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
A lot of crazy weather in the East this weekend. Right now, things are copacetic, but we thought we'd bring in the heavy hitters. We thought we'd bring in the man for all seasons, all four of them. From the Weather Channel, Jim Cantori. Jim, an update.
Al, temperatures, believe it or not, are right around freezing right now, about 32 degrees, but the air is drying out quickly, and we are expecting a whole different second half here as temperatures with the wind factored in are going to feel like they're about 19 to possibly even in the single digits. So big cold and big wind will make this a whole different game in the second half. And to find out just how much it's going to infect the players, let's go to Andrea Kramer.
Thank you, Jim. Well, I am in the windier end zone, which is the right side of your TV screen. Now, Pro Bowl kicker John Carney told me he loses 5 to 8 yards off of his kicks when the weather is 25 degrees or lower. Now, the winds are so changeable that when he goes on the field to kick a field goal, the main marker he looks for is this goalpost flag. But he also relies on Pro Bowl punter Jeff Feagles, who he calls a wind expert. Feagles looks at the American flag at the top of the stadium, and whichever way that is blowing, it's blowing the opposite direction here on the field.
A little wind shear, a little swirling on this 32, 33 degree evening as the Carolina Panthers will kick off. The Giants won the toss, elect to receive. Reese Lloyd from England has come in. John Casey has done all of the place kicking and the kicking off for years, but they brought in Lloyd, and he's been great. Ahmad Bradshaw to run it back. Lloyd with 24 touchbacks this season. Number one seed in the NFC at stake from the 5-yard line. It's Bradshaw up past the 20. Ahmad Bradshaw brings it back out to the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at the Giants starters.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Brandon Jacobs, Southern Illinois.
Madison Hedgecock, North Carolina. Amani Toomer, Michigan.
Dominic Hickson, Akron.
Kevin Boss, Western Oregon.
Dave Deal, University of Chief Line Network.
Rich Seibert, Western Illinois.
Sean O'Hara, Rutgers University.
Chris Snee, Boston College.
Coonan McKenzie, Penn State.
2 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. Eli will also be going. Brandon Jacobs is the running back on first down from the 25. They fake it to him. Bootleg to the right. And off play action, the pass is caught by Dominic Hickson, who is close to a first down. Hickson, in his 3rd year out of Akron, picked up on waivers last year from Denver. With the absence of Burris, will play a bigger part in the Giants' offense.
Well, the Panthers are really thinking run here, so they fake to Brandon Jacobs to the left. Eli Manning bootlegs out to the right and finds Hickson right there for the first down, just short of the first down.
They'll spot the ball just outside the 29-yard line. Second and a short 1. Jacobs this time with Hedgecock as the fullback in the backfield. And through the middle he goes, and Brandon Jacobs, all 6'4", 264 pounds of him. 4th-year man from Southern Illinois. It's a 3-headed Giant attack. You've got the hammer in Jacobs. He wears people down. And then you've got Derek Ward who comes in. And then they go to Bradshaw a lot in the second half. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
And we saw last week, without Brandon Jacobs, without having the hammer, this running game wasn't as effective. I mean, they needed him as much on this down, on these first down type plays, as they did on 3rd or short.
He is earth, Ward is wind, and Bradshaw is fire. Jacobs again. And Jacobs this time gets taken down by John Beeson, who will be going to the Pro Bowl. Let's take a look at that Carolina D.
Tyler Brayton, Colorado.
Darwin Walker, University of Tennessee.
Damian Lewis, University of Miami.
Julius Peppers, the University of North Carolina.
Niall Diggs, The Ohio State.
John Beeson, you already know.
Thomas Davis, Randolph Clay High School.
Chris Gamble, The Ohio State.
Chris Harris, J. Fair.
Charles Godfrey, University of Iowa.
Ken Lucas, Mississippi.
Giants with a double tight end set now on 2nd and 8. This is the first time all season Carolina has had to go to the bench for a starter on their defense. They'd had the same 11 starting through 14 games, but 1 minus tonight as Jacobs takes it and is tackled by Tyler Brayton. Maaki Kimoyatu, who is 6'5" at about 335 and really plugs up the middle. He's hurt. He won't play tonight, so Darwin Walker will get the spot at tackle for them.
Good play by Tyler Brayton there. Remember Tyler Brayton when he played with the Raiders? He was one of those guys they were never sure whether he should be a linebacker or a defensive end, and they'd put him down, then they'd put him back up, then down, then up. And so that's why you say, how does a guy like that tackle that well in the open field? Because he has been a linebacker.
Manning out of the gun, using it more and more through the years. Manning avoids a sack and then throws deep, and it is caught by Hickson. Hickson got behind the defense. He's inside the 20-yard line to the 18. It was Charles Johnson, number 95, who got in. He got his hand on Manning's shirt. Eli able to escape, and it's a 40-yard completion.
Right, the Giants went to 3 wide receivers on that play, but this was all about Eli. Any NFL quarterback today has to be able to escape, to make that move right there, to buy this time right here, to let this happen downfield to Dominic Hickson.
Gamble and Harris with the coverage on the play. The ball is at the 18-yard line, and they give it to Jacobs over the right side, and he runs right into Tyler Brayton, and Brayton's able to knock him down. It's a gain of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Again, Tyler Brayton has that quickness out there, to get off blocks and make tackles. I think they look at him and think, he's the undersized defensive lineman. We want to run right at him, but that's been pretty tough. The Panthers had good support on that side, and really what they did is they took on the lead block of Hedgecock.
Opening drive of the game, 2nd and 9. Giants at the Panthers 17-yard line. Hedgecock provides the blocking. There goes Jacobs. Jacobs still on his feet, and finally they will wrestle him to a halt at the 14-yard line, and the Giants will have a 3rd down and 6.
Isn't that something with Jacobs, though, is still running. He's probably the hardest back in the NFL to get to the ground. I mean, he never gives up on a run. So that means that he's going to take a lot of hits. We're talking to John Beeson, the middle linebacker, last night for the Panthers, and he said, all you can do is hit him high and hope that you can hold on till the cavalry gets here. The cavalry finally got there on that one.
Giants bunch 3 receivers to the right. Manning from the gun. And that pass is dropped out in the flat as he checked it down to Derek Ward. And the Giants will have to settle for a field goal attempt by a guy who's 44 years old and will be going to the Pro Bowl. John Carney at 44 took over in training camp. He was probably going to retire. He was with Kansas City last year. Lawrence Tynes got hurt. They signed Carney, and the next thing you know, he's going to Honolulu.
Right, and it's interesting here that he is kicking with the wind, that the Giants on the opening kickoff both got the ball and the wind.
32-yard attempt. Jeff Fiegels, who will go to the Pro Bowl as the punter. That's a great placement as the snap was low by Jay Alford, but Fiegels was able to get it down, and the 32-yard kick is good. So the Giants score on their opening drive. The number 1 seed in the NFC at stake at the Meadowlands. 3-0 New York. Well, the final Sunday night game of the season next week, and it's going to be a beauty the way things turned out. We'll be in San Diego. The Denver Broncos losing to Buffalo today. The Chargers winning against Tampa, and so that game will determine the AFC West champion. The Chargers own the tiebreak. They'd wind up with the same record as the Broncos, so they would go. Otherwise, if Denver wins, they go to the playoffs. So one game, the winner goes on, the loser goes home. Sunday Night Football, Denver at San Diego next week. Back to receive is Mark Jones, who a few years ago was running back kicks for the Giants. He's done a great job running back kicks and punts this year. John Carney sends it toward the northern end zone. Jones gets taken down at the 23-yard line by Zach Diassi. Steve's son, former Giant. The Loman Company will go to work. 3-0 New York. Panthers have the ball. They'll start this drive from the 23-yard line. 9.5 to go in the opening quarter on this windy night at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Jake Delhomme had what they call Tommy John surgery. Ligament from his hamstring went into his elbow last year, and he's had a good year, but this guy's really had a good year, and that's D'Angelo Williams for a gain of 7 to the 30. Let's take a look at the Panther offense.
Jake Delhomme, Louisiana Lafayette.
D'Angelo Williams, Memphis.
Brad Hoover, Western Carolina.
Low playmaker, Utah.
Muhsin Muhammad, Michigan State.
Jeff King, Virginia Tech.
Jordan Gross, Utah.
Travell Wharton, South Carolina.
Brian Khalil, the University of Southern California.
Jeff Hangartner, Texas A&M.
Jeff Oton, Pittsburgh.
Ain't bragging if you can do it. Steve Smith is a playmaker. Delhomme has time, checks down underneath, and it is dropped by D'Angelo Williams. It'll be 3rd and 3. Jake Delhomme, of course, started his career in New Orleans. He was on the bench, then went to Carolina, and in his first year as a starter, led them to the Super Bowl in 2003. Played well, got him to the championship game in the NFC against Seattle in 05, then had that surgery, John, but he's come back and looks as good as new.
Right, and it was more than Tommy John surgery. He said he had Tommy John +3, that they did that surgery plus 3 other surgeries on his right arm.
3rd and 3, they swing it to the outside. That's a backward pass, caught by Smith, and Steve Smith will get run out of bounds. John Fox applauding as he hops down the sideline. They'll spot the ball at the 42-yard line. Broke the tackle by Michael Johnson.
You know, this guy is something special. I mean, you can get the ball to him deep, you can get the ball to him short, and he's such a good runner with it. This is a screen-type pass, and he runs when he gets the ball. He runs like a punt returner. You know, so it's not one of those things that, you know, you have to worry about him deep. Wherever Steve Smith is on the field, you have to worry about him because he can make a big play from any position on any down.
Ball at the 47-yard line. That counts as a rush since it was a backward pass. It's a 23-yard rush is how it goes into the books for him. And here's Williams for a gain of 1. Let's take a look at the Giants defense.
Justin Tuck, Notre Dame.
Barry Cofield, Northwestern.
Fred Robbins, Wake Forest. Matthias Kiwanuka, Boston College.
Danny Clark, Illinois.
AP, Arizona.
Chase Blackburn, Akron.
Aaron Ross, the University of Texas.
James Butler, Georgia Tech.
Mike Johnson, Arizona.
Corey Webster, LSU.
Webster will have his hands full tonight. Most of the time, he'll be lined up against Smith. And there they are at the top of the screen. See him trail him as Smith now comes out of the slot on 2nd down and 9. Delhomme steps up. Delhomme goes deep, and Delhomme finds Smith. And it's uncanny how Smith, a guy who should be like a magnet, is able to get so open so often.
Well, you know, they move him around a little. You know, they just don't keep him outside. And, you know, we saw he'll be in the slot. You know, he'll be back off. Here you'll see him. He comes in motion here. And then instead of being the outside receiver, he's the slot receiver. So instead of Webster being on him, a safety's on him. The Giants are in a zone, and he runs right through the zone all the way across. But you have to give, you know, a lot of credit on that to the pass protection. The offensive line did a good job of giving Jake Delhomme that kind of time.
Smith comes out. Jarrett comes in. They give the ball to Williams. He'll sprint to the outside, but not very far. Corey Webster right with him to knock down the 3rd-year back who played his college football at Memphis. 2nd down.
You were talking to Corey Webster the other day, and the first thing that he said is we have to have gap control and we have to set the edge. And this is what he's doing here. In other words, you're the outside guy. You have containment. When they start to the outside, you have to keep everything inside of you. And that's exactly what Corey Webster did. It's funny talking to a corner, and the first thing that he talks about is run defense.
Too tight, too wide here on 2nd down and 12. Williams creased through the middle and goes in untouched for a touchdown. Right over right guard between Khalil and Hangartner, the right guard. That's a 13-yard touchdown run.
I tell you, this D'Angelo Williams is really something. I mean, he goes and he just has great moves. He's only 5'9", but he weighs 217 pounds. And he says what he does is he has that low center of gravity, and he said it's kind of like peekaboo. You get in there behind that big offensive line, and he said the defense can't see you, and then boom, you're right through and by him.
That's how he describes himself, a peekaboo runner. Casey for the extra point. That's his 15th rushing touchdown. Williams' 17th touchdown overall this season. He leads the league, and the Panthers lead the Giants 7-3. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. By your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. By Sprint. Get NFL Mobile Live only on the Now Network. And by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. Cruising down the East River. We're about 8 miles as the crow flies from Midtown Manhattan over in the Meadowlands. The kickoff taken at the goal line by Ahmad Bradshaw. And Bradshaw gets spilled at the 26-yard line. Masters of Dance will come together in TV's first global dance competition. It's country against country on Superstars of Dance. It premieres Sunday, January 4th, right here on NBC. Sunday night before Christmas, and all through the house. First place in the NFC overall, and the #1 seed at stake. And they begin this drive with Jacobs taking it up to the 30-yard line, tackled by the outside linebacker Thomas Davis. At the end of November, the Giants were 11-1. Through the first 12 games, they averaged 29 points a game and 160 yards on the ground, all best in the league. 0-2 this month, losing to Philly and then at Dallas, 11 points per game, only 80 yards rushing. And in those 2 games, the Giants have only 1 offensive touchdown, and that came in garbage time against Philadelphia when the game was already over. Last week against Dallas, 2 field goals and a safety. 2nd and 6. Manning with time has the first down as he hits his own Steve Smith. One Steve Smith on either side tonight. John Beeson, the middle backer, 52, makes the stop.
Yeah, remember last week DeMarcus Ware was coming from that left side and giving them all kinds of problem over here. Well, tonight they're going to have Julius Peppers. So what they do is they put a tight end over there, widen him out a little, and that helps left tackle David Deal. Last week against the Cowboys, I didn't think they gave him any kind of help, or enough anyway.
Now you've got Jacobs. And there's Jacobs running over some defenders, breaking tackles, went right through Thomas Davis and takes the ball to the 50-yard line and a first down.
You know, with Brandon Jacobs, it's all about attitude, and I think the offensive line, I think the rest of the team feeds off of his attitude. I mean, the way that he plays and keeps going and fighting for yardage, that's the energy that the Giants didn't have last week.
Jacobs fighting his way through a knee injury, hurt it against Philadelphia, didn't play against Dallas, practiced this week. You've got Derek Ward in the game now, and he is flanked to the right. And before that, you've got a timeout taken by the defense. Timeout, Carolina. 4:15 left opening quarter. Panthers up 7-3. It's always windy in the Meadowlands right now. Nothing insidious, really. Would have played this game at about noon, you would have had some action. Then the skies began to clear at about 3 o'clock. Cold, but pretty clear in the New York metropolitan area. 1st and 10 for the Giants. 50-yard line. Here's Jacobs. Turns it back upfield. Puts that shoulder down and takes it to the 46-yard line. Turns nothing into a 4-yard gain.
You know what impresses me about the Giants driving tonight is they're staying with the run, and Carolina's using an 8-man front. And I think the Giants got into that thing before. If they use an 8-man front, we're going to throw the ball. If they use a 7-man front, we'll run it. And that didn't work. I mean, they were playing right into the hands of the defenses. And tonight, the start of the game, they're doing what they want to do.
Manning on 2nd and 6, throwing, and that'll be caught for a first down by Steve Smith. So he makes his second catch on this drive. That'll move the change. It'll be a first down at the 38-yard line.
See, and these are the type of situation the Giants want to get in. You know, 2nd and 6, then they can do this kind of stuff. I mean, just let Steve Smith out there work in the slot. He has an option. He can go in or out. If the linebacker stays in, he'll go out. If the linebacker goes out, then he goes in. And he and Eli Manning run that play very, very well.
There's Hedgecock setting up as a fullback in front of Jacobs. Again, providing leverage. And Brandon goes to the middle and takes the ball to the 36-yard line for a gain of 2. He's tackled there by the right tackle, Damian Lewis.
And talking to the Panthers last night, you know, they knew that they had to do something to stop the Giants' run, and they were talking, you know, about 8 men front, which we see, and run dogs or run blitzes, which we're also seeing with Brandon Jacobs. I mean, he's just too big and strong, and you don't throw him for losses.
So John Fox. John, at the beginning of the decade, was the defensive coordinator here under Jim Fassel for the Giants. Now in his 7th year with Carolina. 2nd down and 8 off the play fake. Manning with a lot of time. Throws to Jacobs underneath, and Jacobs gets taken down at the 31 by the linebacker, 58, Thomas Davis. And that'll make it 3rd down and 3 for New York with 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Again, you know, last week they didn't do much to DeMarcus Ware, but look what they're doing to Julius Peppers. I mean, they have someone there. Madison Hedgecock comes out, chips him, puts him right back on deal. They go play action pass. That helps the offensive line, helps the pass protection.
When you have 12.5 sacks, you will draw a crowd. That's Derek Ward in the backfield. Cross looks up in the slot. A little toss to Ward now. And wind of earth, wind, and fire takes it to the 22-yard line where he's tackled by Chris Gamble. So on a 3rd down and 3, they pick up a first down. And Kareem McKenzie, who was hurt last week with back spasms, came out. He pulled out 67 to help lead the way, so he's healthy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Tom Coughlin was saying the other day that he needs McKenzie, but he needs him not only to start, but he needs these injured guys to give him a full game. And you know, and that's a big thing. You say, oh, he's okay to play, he's okay to start, but is he okay to play 4 quarters?
Here's Ward. Well, that's a good point to bring up too, John, because last week Wade Phillips thought Marion Barber could play, which he did, but he barely played, and they went with Tashard Choice most of the way and won the game. But Coughlin wanted to know, as you say, can you give me a full game? Brandon, can you give me a full game?
Right, and that what he was, you know, and that's what he was thinking. That, you know, am I going to have you guys in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter when the game is on the line?
This line now has made 31 consecutive starts, or every game over almost 2 full seasons. Ward again. And Ward will get banged down at the 15-yard line. That's going to set up a 3rd down and 3 and probably take us to the end of the first quarter. It's the end of the opening frame at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. End of 1. The Carolina Panthers 7 and the New York Giants 3. And NBC Sunday Night Football will continue after these messages. Tom Coughlin will be taking the New York Giants to the playoffs for a 4th consecutive season as we get ready for the start of the 2nd quarter at the Meadowlands. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer. Next to last week of the season, John Fox's team looking for the #1 seed, as are the Giants. It's 3rd down and 2 at the 14-yard line, and Derek Ward is the back. And Manning will take the snap out of the shotgun. They bunch the receivers to the left and then break it with Boss now setting up in the slot to the right. And Manning throwing for a first down. That is caught by Steve Smith. So he's been an integral part of this drive. He's caught 3 passes on it. And the Giants will have a first down and goal.
You know, and the Giants are going to do a lot more of that. And I think, you know, that they're adjusting to life without Plexico Burress. And I think life without Plexico is stuff like this. You use bunch, you use little zone patterns. You get, you know, Steve Smith and you have him run option routes, and Eli Manning feels very, very comfortable with that kind of offense.
Smith is the Giants' leading receiver. He's now caught 55. Inside handoff. They give it to Jacobs, and he works his way to the 2-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and goal.
Remember in the old days when every time you'd go to shotgun, that meant pass? Not anymore.
No more.
It's about 50-50. I mean, there's as many runs, and last week in the Dallas Giant game, we seemed to see it the whole game, shotgun runs, and we just saw one there to Brandon Jacobs.
13th play of this drive coming. This drive has consumed almost 7.5 minutes.
Right, and the offensive line loves these kind of games because they are wearing down the Carolina defense.
Can Jacobs make it pay off? No signal yet. Now there is. Touchdown. Brandon Jacobs into the end zone.
The offensive line is saying enough of that 8-sack stuff last week. We're going to do what we do best. We're going to just get in there and pound and drive. And then with a running back like Brandon Jacobs, you just stay alive with your blocks because you know he's going to stay alive with his runs.
13 plays on the drive, 9 of them on the ground, 4 through the air, 3 receptions by Smith. The Giants have the lead again. Carney to tack on the 10th point. 1:22 into the second quarter at the Meadowlands. The New York Giants leading the Carolina Panthers 10-7 on Sunday Night Football. Nothing like the wind currents at the Meadowlands, 33 degrees. Guys trying to stay warm on both sidelines. Giants on top, 10-7.
You know, when you need those heaters as a player, and you see the Panther offensive line over there, you need the heater just before you go in, not after you come out. Now, the Panther defensive line doesn't need them right now, but the offensive line is using them up.
It's a bouncing ball, and it's going to be juggled and then fielded up at the 24-yard line, and that is Jeff King, the tight end, will bring it back to the 35. Every year is a weird year in the NFL. This year, of course, no exception. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, the Giants looked like they're rolling. Easy road to number 1. Carolina stumbled a little bit, then all of a sudden they got hot again. You got to give John Fox a lot of credit. That's a big turnaround from 2 mediocre seasons in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I do give him a lot of credit. I mean, he got Jake Delhomme back. He got Musa Muhammad. You know, he has a good offensive line, and you know he has the pieces to the puzzle that he wants. And you know that he's a very good coach. I mean, he's a sound, solid, fundamental guy.
From the 34-yard line, this is Jonathan Stewart. It's our first look at the rookie picked in the first round out of Oregon. No gain. Carolina's offense, September through November, a 9-3 record with 23.8 points per game. And good rushing figures. And then the last 2 games, they've just been dominant, beating Tampa Bay and Denver and averaging 223 yards on the ground per outing.
See how they keep their tight ends and wide receivers tight to the line of scrimmage? They like to work from inside out.
And again, you're looking at the rookie Stewart. Stewart and Williams, an interesting pair in that they're both about the same height. One's 5'9", one's 5'10". D'Angelo weighs about 220. Jonathan weighs about 235. So you're talking about, John, D'Angelo being a peekaboo runner. This guy can be one as well.
Right, and he's a bigger, stronger, more powerful guy, but D'Angelo Williams has the better moves, and you know, I mean, he can dart back and forth and pick holes, and he's very, very good at cutting back. And the Giants were worried about their gap control, but so far, especially on this drive, those first 2 downs, their gap control has been excellent.
3rd and 6 off the play fake. The Giants with 6 defensive backs, and it's checked off underneath, and he goes to Stewart, and Stewart across the 50 to the 48. So Delhomme looked downfield, saw the coverage was there, finally looks underneath, and Terrell Thomas winds up making the tackle, but not until it's a 15-yard gain and a first down.
Well, this is a blueprint. Remember the Philadelphia Eagles where Westbrook did this? Last week the Cowboys did it. You know, they say, what do you do to the Giants? You get the backs underneath.
They don't throw to Stewart very often. That's only his 7th catch of the season.
And we just saw Justin Tuck, normally a defensive end, working as a tackle.
Delhomme gets pressured, throws going backwards, gets it off to King, the tight end who ran that kickoff back. King able to break a Danny Clark tackle, and that will net him a first down at the 37-yard line.
Yeah, that's what Jake Delhomme can do. He always has been able to do this, is to make throws from every angle. I mean, he doesn't have to have his feet in perfect position or his arm in perfect position. If he sees something, that ball is coming out right now, just like it did on that last play.
Talking to him last night, he says, I sling it a lot.
He does sling it.
Speaking of slinging Sammy Baugh, the oldest Hall of Famer who is still alive, passing away last week, and we'll talk about him as we move along tonight. Meanwhile, a big hole again through the middle for Jonathan Stewart, who gets to the 31-yard line, tackled there by James Butler. And Stewart a little slow before he can get up. So an injury timeout, so signaled by the officiating crew here, as Stewart is down on the turf. 10.5 to play in the half. 10-7 New York. Jonathan Stewart walked off under his own power. Take a look at Jake Delhomme. It pretty much mirrors the team. They were unbeaten at home, and his rating was 100.8. On the road, where the team is 500, his rating is 63. Drew Brees would be the only guy with a larger home road differential. D'Angelo Williams now back in the game. Goes to the right, nothing there. Comes left, has a lot of room inside the 20, and is taken out of bounds at the 14-yard line. And Barry Cofield gets up limping. Justin Tuck also took a shot. He's only been in on the nickel, and now Cofield goes limping off after a 16-yard gain.
Yeah, and this is what the Giants were worried about with D'Angelo Williams, is cutting back. In fact, Steve Spagnuolo said the last thing he did Friday is he showed him 8 clips of D'Angelo Williams doing this. And no matter what you think, you have all your gaps, you have everything controlled, and then boom, he comes right back against the grain.
Giants now have Jay Alford and Ronaldo Wynn along the defensive front with Tuck and Cofield out. And Williams probes the left side for a yard. Matthias Kiwanuka making the tackle at the 13-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Red zone Carolina, a touchdown on 11 of 12 drives over the last 4 games. So that two-headed rushing attack, plus of course the receivers in Smith, and we've yet to see Muhsin Muhammad catch a pass tonight, but don't forget about him.
No, but that's a pretty good combination that you bring up. They have the running back and the wide receiver that can make big plays in this area.
2nd and 9. You got Kevin Dockery now on Smith, bottom of the screen, looking that way, and the pass is caught by Smith, and Smith is out of bounds inside the 5, and they'll spot the ball at the 3-yard line, and that will make it a 1st down and goal. So they had Dockery lined up on him. Smith went to the outside, and Delhomme threads it to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the old fade stop. I mean, he's going to run a fade, and he's going to go up, and then if you start to cover him or cover him tight, he's just going to stop and come back and make a hook out of it. There's something, when you get man on man on Steve Smith in that situation, you don't have a chance. And between he and Jake Delhomme, they are going to figure a way to beat you. They're either going to go over the top or they're going to run that fade stop.
He lines up to the right. Panthers have scored a touchdown in their last 9 goal-to-go situations as D'Angelo Williams is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. That was Terrell Thomas, the cornerback, rookie 2nd-round draft choice out of USC on the run blitz, stopping him. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
He got in there before they could get the run started, and that's the way to do it. I mean, sometimes you have to bring that 8th man up. Sometimes you have to run blitz to get a guy in the backfield before their runner can even get to the line of scrimmage.
Now Aaron Ross will line up on Smith to the left side.
Nickel.
Give the ball to Williams, and Williams is going to take the ball inside the 1 and to the end zone. Touchdown, Williams. That's a 66-yard drive to the consternation and exasperation of Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, Travell Warden, the guard, Jordan Gross, the left tackle, Pro Bowl player. These are their 2 best offensive linemen, and you watch, they get a double team right there, and then Muhammad comes in. and he gets the next guy, and that provides a lane. Muhsin Muhammad, one of the better or best wide receiving blockers in the NFL. Maybe behind Hines Ward, but he's that kind of blocker.
And Williams took Butler for a ride into the end zone. That's Williams' second touchdown of the game. Casey tacks on the 14th point. 8:12 to go in the opening half. The Carolina Panthers are back up on top, 14-10. Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Robin Williams will be there. Chances are Johnny Mathis will be making an appearance. Natalie Cole will be along as well. Other guests all this week on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno right here on NBC. Williams with 2 touchdowns tonight. He's now scored a touchdown in 9 consecutive games, and the kick goes into the end zone. It's another touchback for Lloyd, his 25th. Of the season. Meanwhile, the New York injuries. Tuck got hurt. Number 91 right here on the extra point. Contact with that left knee. So he has been in and out, mainly playing just in pass rush situations now on 3rd down. And he was on that last series, Cofield getting hurt. So 2 key guys along that defensive front, John.
And I think they both have to get back in there. I mean, Cofield looks like he'll be okay. And Tuck has been in since then.
Derek Ward starts as the running back from the 20-yard line. Hitchcock is the fullback. Manning, clean pocket. Lots of time, but the pass is incomplete. Coverage is good. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Eli Manning will be going to the Pro Bowl. It's funny, if you go back about 3 or 4 weeks ago, John, people were talking about Eli Manning maybe being a contender for the most valuable player. He isn't right now. But guess who took his place?
His brother.
He did.
Yes, he did.
All crazy things.
That'd be Eli. I mean, you take his body of work from last year and that playoff drive all the way into and through the Super Bowl and the start of this season. That's a pretty good body of work for a quarterback.
2nd down and 10. Here's Ward. And Ward breaks the tackle to the line of scrimmage. Swings to the outside, and then Lucas is able to take him down from behind. Just shy of the marker. They'll spot it at the 29-yard line, make it 3rd down and 1.
The other thing I like about this is what Tom Coughlin said the other day, that we have to stay with the run. I mean, here it is, a 2nd and long. Okay, if you don't make something on 1st down and you're 2nd and long, that doesn't mean you have to get in a shotgun and throw the ball and let them rush the passer. It means you can come back with a 2nd down run, and that's what the Giants are doing better tonight than they did the last 2 weeks.
Giants on the season as a team averaging 4.8 yards per rush. 3rd down and 1. Now you've got Hitchcock as the fullback, and he will take the handoff. And the question is, did forward progress net him the 1st down? John Beeson, number 52, with the tackle. Meanwhile, that's the first time Hitchcock has had a carry with the Giants. They picked them up last year from St. Louis, blocking back. Once in a while he'll catch the ball. It's the first time he's run with the ball, and maybe the last. He didn't pick up the 1st down.
And he should have stayed as a blocking back. John Beeson just has him to read. I mean, I hate that play, and there's a lot of teams that use it with no lead. When you have short yardage, you have to have a lead and then come. They have great runners here. Hitchcock is a good blocker. Let him block and let your runners run. Sometimes they just outthink and outsmart themselves.
Yeah, when you have earth, wind, and fire, what are you doing going to the fullback? Here's the punt by Fiegels, who'll go to the Pro Bowl, and it's run back by the former Giant Mark Jones to the 35-yard line. 6:38 left in the opening half. Carolina by 4 at the Meadowlands. Williams creased through the middle and goes in untouched.
This D'Angelo Williams is really something.
This is Sunday night.
D'Angelo Williams, born and raised in Arkansas, then went across the Mississippi to college at Memphis, had a tremendous college career. Now this season, 2 touchdowns already tonight, 18 touchdowns already this season, leads the league in that department. He's the back on 1st down, the fake to him, buys Delhomme some time, Looked right, then goes left, and the pass is almost intercepted, but instead it's caught by Muhammad. And Muhammad takes the ball to the 4-yard line. Aaron Ross looked like he was going to pick it off, and the next thing you know, threw his hands into the hands of Muhsin Muhammad, and a 60-yard gain.
You know, when a guy gets deep and he's open, Jake Delhomme is going to find him. Here, it's a double move by Muhsin Muhammad. Delhomme is a little late with the ball. It looks like Aaron Ross is going to make the interception, and it goes right through his hands. Unbelievable. And you talk about concentration. How about Muhsin Muhammad?
His first catch tonight. The ball is at the 5, Tuck and Cofield. Back in for the Giants. First and goal from the 5-yard line. He looked to throw a fade, then he goes to the right side. And again, it is Muhammad, who started his career with Carolina, very popular down there. Then they let him go, and he spent 3 seasons in Chicago. And then when they let him go, Delhomme got on the phone and said, Moose, you got to come back. You got to come back.
Yeah, and he just fits in so well with this team because he's the other guy. I mean, Steve Smith is a receiver. He's a man. He's your go-to guy. He's your big play guy. But if they're covering, they're double covering him, then you go to Muhsin Muhammad. But then the big plus is in the running game. He is a great, great blocker as a wide receiver.
Second and goal. Jonathan Stewart's on the bench. He's questionable to return with a head injury. A swing out pass to Smith, who takes it and gets into the end zone. So they run that play again. It's almost a backward pass. It's right down the line of scrimmage. He makes the grab and gets into the end zone.
Well, and that's the thing we were talking about, is Steve Smith being a very good runner, being a big play guy, and Muhsin Muhammad being a good blocker. So what they do is they get the ball out there quickly to Smith, and look who his lead blocker is. It's his other receiver, Muhammad.
Giants can challenge this if they showed it, and they will. You saw the same thing we saw, and the guys upstairs saw it, and Tom Coughlin got the word from upstairs that it's worth a challenge. He may have been out of bounds before he got in.
The Giants are challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
So they'll take a look. Walt Coleman will go under the hood. We think that Tom Coughlin will win this challenge. Taking a look at the replays during commercial. Take a look here. Does his knee go down before the ball gets into the end zone? The right knee appears to be down before the ball crosses the plane of the goal line. And remember, once they go under the hood here, and Walt Coleman takes a look at this, they review the entire plane. Was he down by contact? Was it the knee? Was his left foot out of bounds? In any event, it appears to us that Coughlin will win the challenge, because there goes the right knee. The ball is clearly not in the end zone. It's just inside the 1-yard line. If the Giants win the challenge, the ball will come out to about the half-yard line, and it will be 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, you're right, because it was a two-way go there. The knee was down before the ball was in, and his left foot was out of bounds before the ball was in.
So here we are about 25 minutes into the game. Walt Coleman.
After reviewing the play, the runner's right knee was down with the ball at the 1/2-yard line. We'll re-spot the ball at the half-yard line. The Giants will be not charged with a timeout.
First time we've heard Walt Coleman talk tonight. 25 minutes into the game. This crew has called the fewest penalties in the league. So no penalties tonight, and we finally hear him on a challenge.
And I think that's a good thing. I mean, I'd rather have that, I'll guarantee you, than the opposite of that.
Meanwhile, big play here. Big first half play, 3rd down and goal. 4:54 to go in the half. Can Carolina make it an 11-point game or a 7-point game?
Well, they have the offensive line and the running back, to make it a 7-point game.
3rd and goal. Williams is in again, so he has a first half hat trick. 17 rushing touchdowns, 19 overall touchdowns for DeAngelo Williams.
Yeah, the Carolina pace has been very good. I mean, they get up and they change the snap count and they go on the quick count, and that's what they did here. You know, don't let them get set. Don't let them have a long time to look at your formation. Get up, get on the line of scrimmage, and boom, snap the ball. The Panthers have very, very good pace tonight.
John Casey in his 18th season, an original Panther, was with him when they came into the league as an expansion team in '95. 4:45 to go in the half, so the Giants win the challenge, but Carolina gets in on a 3rd and goal.
Come up there and just go in the first sound. Here it is. They've been kind of doing that on the whole drive, you know, is they like to use their cadence, change it up, and as John Fox says, they use their cadence as a weapon. Of course, they lead the league in false starts too, and learning that. He said, we finally got it down, and I was impressed with that last drive. I mean, they were darn near perfect. I mean, in their not only their cadence, but in their their run, their pass protection. I think in this game so far that the offensive lines on both teams have dominated.
Done very, very well. The Giants averaging 4.1 yards a rush. Carolina averaging 5.6 yards per rush. Williams with 3 touchdowns tonight. 19 over 6 games on the ground for the Panthers. Casey to send it skyward here. Carolina tonight with 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. At the goal line, Ahmad Bradshaw past the 20 up to the 27-yard line. Talked about the fact Jake Delhomme slings the ball, and of course you think about slinging, it's Sammy Baugh, the Redskins quarterback from 37 through 52. And you know, when somebody dies, it's something that younger people can look back and what he did. That the passing records, he said, John, he played defense, he intercepted a lot of passes, and he still holds the punting mark for a season.
Yeah, Sammy Baugh was a great player, and he was one of the originals in the Hall of Fame. And he was in the first Hall of Fame class. And when you think of pro football and you think of quarterbacks and you think of Hall of Famers, he was one of the first guys I always thought of, Sammy Baugh.
Just love being down on the farm in Texas. 3-yard gain here for Jacobs. How good was he when he retired in 52? He held the record for passes, completions, passing yards, touchdown passes, punts, as we said. He was a great defensive back, and until his death, he was the oldest living Hall of Famer.
And I'll tell you something I always loved about Sammy Baugh is he enjoyed modern-day football. He wasn't jealous of it. It wasn't one of those things, boy, back in my day was better. He says football's better today, players are better today, everything. He always said that, and I always respected him for that.
2nd down and 7, and that's Kevin Boss who makes the catch, and Boss will have a 1st down. The tight end there taken down by Chris Harris.
I think one thing the Giants have to do is just stay with their game plan. I mean, they have a good game plan. I mean, they, a ball control type passing, using play action pass, doing that type of thing, staying with the run. I don't think, because the score has gotten away a little here, 21-10, I don't think they have to adjust in any way their offensive game plan.
From the 45-yard line, in the pocket, Manning throws over the middle, and looking for a flag. The pass is incomplete. Is Dominic Hickson. There is no flag. The coverage on the play by Chris Gamble. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
I think that was just good coverage by number 20, Chris Gamble. You see, he's up there, and as he pushes him a little there. Then he starts the cut. Looks like maybe he was holding his left arm there as he put his own left arm in to knock the ball down.
2nd down and 10. Jacobs, the running back behind Hitchcock. And Manning is going to go down, coming around from his left defensive end spot, and the outside linebacker spot is Thomas Davis. Comes off the edge on the left side of the linebacker, takes Manning down.
Yeah, and Thomas Davis is the guy that they use as a blitzer. And you see, he started back like he was a linebacker. Then he came quickly up to the line of scrimmage, and he went right by Kareem McKenzie. But if you watch the Panthers play on defense, if they're going to blitz a single linebacker, it's usually Thomas Davis. He came here as a safety.
3rd and 16. Manning out of the gun, dumps it off, but that will go nowhere. Reading the play perfectly as Derek Ward takes it in. Ken Lucas comes up from the corner and takes him down, and that will be a loss of 6. And the Giants on 4th and 22 will have to bring Fiegels in.
Well, and they did get away from their game plan a little and thought that they had to make up something there. And it all started on the last series with that Hedgecock run on 3rd down. They didn't make it, and they came back on this series. And on 2nd down, instead of running, they felt that they had a pass. And earlier, they were very successful on 2nd down runs.
Talked about Baugh holding the record for most punts when he retired. Fiegels is the current record holder. That's a fair catch made by Mark Jones with 2:06 to go in the half. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores. And by Toyota and the line of scrimmage. By the way, John, if Ace Parker is listening, my apologies. I thought that Baugh was the oldest living Hall of Famer, but Ace is actually 2 years. So if Ace is listening tonight, and I hope you are, God bless you if you are, Ace. My apologies.
Happy holidays to you, Ace.
You bet. They swing the pass out. They love to do that 3rd time tonight. Down the line it goes to Smith, but this time the Giants are there in force. Antonio Pierce leading the brigade. We come to the 2-minute warning. The Carolina Panthers trying to make sure the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC goes through Charlotte, up by 11. The Toyota halftime show coming up from across the Hudson River. Bob, Chris, and the gang will be there. Big wins today for Miami and New England and San Diego. Wrenching losses for the Jets and the Broncos. They'll discuss it all in the Toyota halftime show. Carolina with 2 timeouts as we play the final 2 minutes of the half. And they begin with Williams going nowhere. D'Angelo Williams taken down by Cofield and Kiwanuka, 2nd down, and a timeout is taken here by New York.
Yeah, we see that Cofield is back in there, but Justin Tuck is also back in there on 1st down.
Giants conserving the clock, trying to get the ball back. By the way, the Giants had Minnesota won today. The Giants really would have been in jeopardy tonight. Had they lost this one and the Vikings won, they would have been playing the Vikings for the number 2 seed. As it turns out, Atlanta wins. The Giants have clinched a bye, but Carolina has not clinched a bye. Clearly, as we said at the top, the storyline tonight is that whoever wins the game, number 1 seed in the NFC. No further questions. And almost picked off here by Terrell Thomas. And so the Giants again with a near pick. Ross had one that turned into a 60-yard reception, and this one is incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
You see Terrell Thomas here. He's the nickel back or 5th defensive back, and you see him. He fakes like he's blitzing, and then he just drops back. And I don't think that Jake Delhomme saw him going back. And if he intercepts that ball, it's a touchdown.
Jason Baker to punt. First time tonight he's had to kick. R.W. McQuarters is back for New York.
Giants coming on a punt block.
Baker gets it away. It's a line drive spinner that's dropped to the 39 by Bradshaw, the up man. And Ahmad Bradshaw will take it back to the 45-yard line with 1:39 to play in the half. Tonight it's been Williams, D'Angelo Williams with 3 touchdowns, 40 yards on the ground. Brandon Jacobs with 43 yards. Jake Delhomme, very efficient through the air. Smith has caught 3 passes. A near touchdown was challenged, and the Giants won that challenge, but Carolina able to get into the end zone on the next play. Now at the 45-yard line on 1st down. Out of the gun. Manning flanked by Ward. Inside handoff. Ward is able to bust it free. Inside the 40. Inside the 30. Forced out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Chris Snee, the son-in-law of Tom Coughlin, provided the escort on that one.
You know, and that's what the Giants had to do. Although it was a shotgun run, they had to get back to the run. Here you see Snee, he's a right guard. He pulls around to the left. Derek Ward gets right in behind him. See Snee, 76, he comes there. He just creates that hole, and Ward gets right in again behind him.
Took Thomas Davis out of the play. Ward again. They run that same play again. Takes it to the 17-yard line.
I don't think NFL teams do that enough anymore. You know, they all have scripts and they have lists that they're looking at and stuff. And I think sometimes if something works, just keep running it until they stop it.
2nd and 6. 3 receivers to the left. Manning looking over there. Manning fires over the middle. It's deflected and incomplete at the 5-yard line. Deflected off the hands of Kevin Boss. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Charles Godfrey, good-looking rookie safety out of Iowa there for the coverage. 3rd and 6.
That's a dangerous place to throw it, isn't it? When you have 3 receivers in the same area, that brings about 5 defensive backs in that area, and that there's always a chance that after you throw one of those, you're going to become a tackler if you're a quarterback.
61 seconds to halftime. 3rd down and 6.
I think you want to keep the ball outside. If you got a big play guy in this situation, it has to be Steve Smith.
Giants bunching 3 receivers to the right. Manning will throw over the middle and is lucky that one wasn't intercepted right into the hands of John Beeson.
It was the same thing as the last time. I said, you can't keep the ball outside. You know, you can't do that. I mean, that's not the place to go in this area of the field. Julius Peppers is going to come right there. You see him, he got his hand up and it hit his left elbow. Julius Peppers, a college basketball player, one of the good pass rushers and one of the good guys at rushing and knocking down passes.
He'll block shots in any sport. Almost picked by Beeson. This is a 35-yard attempt here now for Carney out of the Feagles hold, and that is right down Broadway. Whether it's in East Rutherford or Manhattan, right down it. 50 seconds to play in the half. 21-13 Carolina. I want to talk about Jerry Richardson, the founder of the Panthers. He was a Colt wide receiver the year after the greatest game in '58. Came up as a rookie, caught a couple of touchdown passes from Johnny Unitas in '59. Was a great end, and then became an executive. Founded the Panthers when they came into the league in '95. As many of you know, Jerry is now on the list for a heart transplant. He's in Charlotte, waiting for it. Came out to the game last week. They brought him out. His wife Rosalind made sure that he was, well protected from the elements with the blanket and all of that. But John, you and I have known him for a long time. He is a special man.
He's one of my best friends in the league and one of the true class guys in the league. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking the other night, he and I played in a college all-star game 50 years ago.
Wow.
We were roommates in that game, and it was the first time I met him. He was from Wofford College, and he was, at that time, one of the funniest guys that I ever met in my life. He had a great sense of humor, and then he went on, played for the Colts, and he went into business and, made a lot of money and always wanted to get back into pro football as an owner, and he did, and he's one of the top owners, and more importantly, he's one of the top guys. I mean, he's a real gentleman, Jerry Richardson.
And one of those men who not only looks out for the betterment of his team, but he's always thinking about the league as a whole. What is good for football in the National Football League?
Right, and he was the only owner that I ever knew that in pregame warm-up went down and warmed up with the offensive lineman. That's Jerry Richardson.
Jerry, we're thinking about you. Carney's kick is taken at the 11-yard line by Mark Jones. And Mark Jones is able to squirt out to the 36-yard line. So 45 seconds remaining in the half and 2 timeouts for Carolina.
Yeah, it's interesting as you look at Jake Delhomme there, looking at that wristband. all the plays have a number, so all they have to do is give him a number, like number 7, and then he'll read off the play that's on the wristband in the huddle.
So they line up tight here at the 36-yard line. And they're going to run the ball. And this is going to be Williams. And Williams will take the ball to the 35-yard line. So the Panthers appear to be content to just let the clock run down and go into that locker room with an 8-point margin.
They just don't want to do anything stupid now because they've really had control offensively. Like I said, I think both offensive lines have been outstanding in this first half, and the Panthers were able to run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and get some big plays in the passing game. So don't do anything to lose what you worked a whole half to get.
Panthers score in their first 3 possessions and lead the New York Giants at the half. Carolina 21 and the Giants 13. The Toyota halftime show from 30 Rock. Coming up after these messages from your NBC station.
We won a division already. Now we need a bye week. Now we need to be at home. So this is a matchup of 2 of the best teams in the NFC.
If we could possibly pull out a win tonight, to know we can play playoff games at home would be huge.
This game is very important. It's for us to get back to playing Giant football.
We're playing much better at home, and we have an opportunity to lock in some home games in the playoffs.
The Giants are a great team, but we got a solid group too. So it's going to be the last team standing, a lot of body blows, and it's just whoever can throw that knockout punch to win the game.
And so we start the second half at the Meadowlands. Al Michaels with John Madden and Andrea Kramer. It's 32 degrees, down a degree since the start of the game. Number 1 seed at stake. The Giants, at worst, will be the number 2 seed. They've already clinched the bye. Carolina hasn't. Because if the Giants win tonight, it's still up for grabs in terms of who wins the NFC South, Atlanta or Carolina. Atlanta clinching a playoff spot. When the weekend began, Carolina hadn't even clinched a playoff spot, but they secured that last night by virtue of Dallas's loss to Baltimore. Here we go. Mark Jones will run it back for Carolina as Carney's kick is taken at the 8-yard line. And Jones out past the 30. And then corralled by Terrell Thomas at the 33. And we check in with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, a somber Tom Coughlin at halftime. His biggest concern, the health of Justin Tuck. He has the flu. He's been battling it all day. He had an IV earlier in the day, did not have one at halftime. Coughlin said he hopes he has enough energy to make it through the second half. They'll be watching him on the sideline and monitoring his snaps. As for Barry Cofield, again a concern for Coughlin with a knee sprain. And as for John Fox, he said final point to his team, 30 minutes to home field advantage. 30
minutes to home field. Tuck is in there to start the second half. He'll be going to his first Pro Bowl. D'Angelo Williams starts with a pickup of about 5 to the 38-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
I've been watching Justin Tuck in his first half tonight. He just hasn't played well at all. I mean, and I didn't know he had the flu or flu-like symptoms and no energy, but he's playing against a rookie, Jeff Otah, who has really, really impressed me in film. The right tackle of the Panthers.
Picked in the first round out of Pittsburgh. And there's a nice tackle made by Michael Johnson, but not until Williams picks up another 6 yards and a first down.
And again, Andrew was talking about Justin Tuck having the flu, and you can see he just doesn't have anything. I mean, he doesn't have the energy, he doesn't have the burst, he doesn't have the strength, and they're kind of having their way with him over there tonight.
Now you've got Jonathan Stewart, who suffered a head injury in the first half, and he came out and didn't play in the second quarter, but he is back in the game. The rookie from Oregon is the tailback. They run him through the middle, and he gets taken down by Danny Clark as he crosses the 50-yard line to the 49. One of the things that John Fox talked about was improving that offensive line, and Jordan Gross has become the stalwart, making the Pro Bowl, 6th year out of Utah, their #1 pick in 03. John just talked about Jeff Otah, the rookie who was born in Nigeria, moved to the U.S. when he was 7. They're minus Kedrick Vincent tonight, the right guard as well, but doing a good job up front, and of course paving the way for a very potent running game. Play fake. That buys DeLome a lot of time. And then he has to check it down as the coverage was good and the pass was incomplete intended for Stewart.
But one of the things that John Fox was talking about is with the offensive line is not only getting better, but getting bigger. And, you know, he wanted a bigger offensive line, and he has that now. And we talked about the rookie there, Jeff Otah. He's 6'6", 330 pounds, and then he was able to take Morton and move him from tackle to guard. And this has really become a pretty dominant offensive line in the league. Hands are up for their defense here. I'll say this about Giant fans. They have always known their defense.
Absolutely. They know it's third down. They know the pass is almost intercepted, but the Giants are able to hold on Carolina's first possession of the half. Kevin Dockery was there. 4th down, and in comes the punting unit.
Steve Spagnuolo out of the Jim Johnson school. When you need a big play, what do? You bring the blitz, you bring the heat, you bring the pressure, you make the quarterback throw when he doesn't want to, where he doesn't want to. He darn near threw it to you.
Jason Baker to punt. R.W. McQuarters standing back at the 10-yard line. Calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 10-yard line. Giants will start their drive from that spot. 12:42 left, third quarter. Carolina by 8. Brandon Jacobs getting ready for a fight. The Giants are in a fight right now. Jacobs tonight, 12 carries, 43 yards, John.
Well, the thing is, they wanted to get back to Giant football. They wanted to run the ball. They wanted to run it downhill. They wanted to do all the things that Brandon Jacobs does. And I think as we start the second half, they have to remember that. And it's not just starting the game and doing it. They have to stay with that. And 21-13 should not change their plan.
Start with Jacobs, right side. Up to about the 13-yard line, gain of 3. Tackled there by John Beeson. Giants rushing offense tonight much better against Philadelphia. Jacobs got hurt in that game. Came out, didn't play at all at Dallas last week. And tonight the team averaging 5.5.
Well, last week at Dallas, you just kind of felt that they gave up on the run, that they were more interested in shotgun and, you know, throwing the ball and running draws out of shotgun than they were power running like this.
Toss to Jacobs. He had to take a look down and collect it before he got started. Gain of 2 up to the 15-yard line. That'll make it 3rd down and 5.
You know, you can lead inside with your fullback, or you can lead outside with your fullback. And that's what that play was. It was a pitch to Jacobs with a lead by Hedgecock. What Hedgecock will come out here, he'll lead right there. Jacobs is right here, right in behind him. So you have the lead inside, or the power lead, and then you can run that same thing to the outside.
Now the shotgun. 4-man rush. Manning to the outside. Pass is incomplete. Crowd wants a flag. Don't get it. Tyler Brayton put the pressure on. In fact, there has not been a penalty in the game tonight, period.
You know, Eli Manning and Hickson just don't have that thing where you can throw that back shoulder, you can throw that fade stop, you know, the way the Panthers can do with Steve Smith. You know, when he lost Plexico Burress, he lost that type of thing.
The 42-year-old Fiegels punting to Mark Jones. Bad kick, low.
Looked like a brick.
Yeah, it did. But it gets out almost to midfield. They'll spot the ball at the Giant 48-yard line after a 33-yard punt. Carolina with the ball. 21-13, Panthers. Tuck is on the sideline again. Andrew talking about battling the flu, playing sparingly tonight, not in right now as Carolina begins this drive at the 48-yard line. Jonathan Stewart is their running back, and they give it to him after faking the end around, or before faking it to Steve Smith. Ronaldo Wynn in the spot normally occupied by Tuck makes the tackle after a gain of 1.
You know, when we were talking the other day to Eli Manning, who probably knows the wind in this field as well as anyone, he says this is a way that it's tough to throw when you're going in this direction. And the closer you get to the goal line, the tougher the wind is to throw into.
Which means Carolina's going to go with the wind in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 8. Stewart to the 43-yard line. This two-headed running attack. The Giants with a three-headed running attack. You know, for years, John, it looked like the trend was, you know, that one back, that the Emmitt Smith, if you could get a guy. And now all of a sudden it's kind of changed a little bit. Everybody's looking for that in and out.
Well, yeah, because they're mostly using just one back now, and when you used to have, you know, the two back, you would run the fullback some. Now it's just a one back offense. So to have one back, you have to have 2 or 3 of them.
They have no backs in the backfield, even though Williams is in the game. Arian Williams now behind DeLome. 3rd down and 5. And that is incomplete. Intended for Muhsin Muhammad, who vehemently seeks a flag. Corey Webster with the coverage. No penalty. Incomplete. 4th down.
Yeah, again, Giant defensive football. Steve Spagnuolo, you know, what's the answer? 3rd down. Big defensive down. What do? You bring the heat. You saw the overload from that left side. Got the pressure there.
Got his right arm around him. That's why Muhammad wanted the flag. Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. We talked about Walt Coleman's crew calling fewer penalties than any crew in the league this year. None tonight. Spinner caught at the 16-yard line by R.W. McQuarters off the foot of Jason Baker. 9.5 left in the third. Still 21-13, Carolina. That's where they store the kicking balls, known as the K balls. And John, the way they're coming off the feet of Baker and Fiegels tonight, they look like they're frozen.
That's what I think, because the last 2 punts both look like the punters were punting bricks.
Now Manning, after faking, will throw. He'll hit his tight end Kevin Boss to the 20-yard line. That's a gain of 4. He had Fiegels, who will be going to the Pro Bowl.
And you can see that punting and the way it came off his foot, and the way it looked, and this one too, that they looked like those footballs were frozen. So you have the thing, you have the wind, and you're punting into a wind, and you know that's doing things not only with your kick but with the snap and with your drop. And then when it finally gets to your foot, it's a frozen ball, I think.
2nd and 6. Here's Jacobs. They must think it's hockey. In hockey, they freeze the pucks. The pucks are kept in an ice bucket.
You know, we were talking about Carolina and how they're playing 8 men up. You can see right there, that's an 8-man box. You have a safety up there, so you have a form of a 4-4, and they're just daring. They're just daring the Giants to run the ball and run right into them. They're inviting them to pass the ball. But that's what they got into last week, and that's what Tom Coughlin said he didn't want to get into. He didn't want to see an 8-man front, and every time he saw an 8-man front, like you see it again right here, go to a pass.
3rd and 5, and Manning may have taken too much time. And here comes your first penalty of the game.
Delay of the game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And that makes a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and that's tough for Eli Manning and this Giant offense. 3rd and 5 is pretty manageable, and I think with this offense and with these receivers and with Eli Manning, they do that well. 3rd and long, with the pass protection they have to have and the receivers they have having to get open on deeper patterns, this is not one of the best things the Giants do now.
3rd down and 10 from the 16. Manning. Now he has all the time he needs, and this is Boss. He finds Boss, and Boss is able to pick up the first down, and he'll need to come out.
You know, one of the things that the Giants wanted to do was have tighter formations this week, not leave their tackles on the line. And you see the tight here and the tight here, so there's no pass rush. So look at the time and look at the pocket that Eli Manning has. And then, you know, when he gets out, then he can find his receivers, and they have time to get separation. And the best way to get separation is like Kevin Boss did there on a crossing pattern.
From the 27-yard line, Jacobs. Well, that's the type of thing the Giants were doing earlier in the season when they were winning game after game. As we talked about, and you saw that graphic that said the Giants were best in the league at 3rd and 10 or better, converting about 1/3 of the time, and they convert there. But right now the Giants in a situation, I mean, it's funny how this game is an interesting game. Carolina still with the upper hand, still very much in doubt, but of course the importance of this is as important a regular season game as we've seen in years, really.
Right, and you know, and this is what it's getting down to. You know, can you make those plays in the passing game? But I think in order to do that for the Giants, they have to stay with the running game. And then you get back to, you know, when they were able to go deep and do those things, they did have flexible burrows.
And this time they hit Hickson. And Hickson, who earlier caught a 40-yarder for the Giants' longest play of the game, is able to convert here, first down, as they hit him for 10 yards.
You see, and it's a slant. He's out there, and Chris Gamble, all you have to do is he puts his shoulder in, get inside one way or another. He got inside, put his shoulder on Gamble, held Gamble there, and then ran away from him on the slant.
From the 41-yard line. Panthers creeping up. Jacobs to the 44-yard line. 3 hard yards for Brandon Jacobs. His worksheet tonight, as he takes a little bit of time before he's going to get up, is 17 carries for 57 yards.
Yeah, the Panthers just keep adding men to the line of scrimmage. They started with 8, and then when you said another one creeping up, that really became a 9th guy. They start with 8, and then the guy creeping up was number 9, and the Giants could see it coming from their right side, so they ran Brandon Jacobs to the left.
Second down and 7.
Now this isn't a bad running down. I mean, they go 3 wide receivers, get the Panther defense off a little. This is not a bad down to come back with another run.
And they do. And it's Ward. And Ward inside the 40 of Carolina. And Marshall finally upends him at the 35-yard line. Behind David Deal, who took Julius Peppers out of the play. That's a 22-yard gain.
Right, and you see the 3 wide receivers. Here's David Deal right here you're talking about. He gets his guy. He forms that corner for him. And Derek Ward just runs right inside him. Watch Deal. He gets Peppers to the outside, holds him just enough so that Derek Ward can get through that hole.
Giants at the 33-yard line. This drive started at their own 16. Manning, that shoulder move, and then to the outside, he goes to the right side. And this time it's Amani Toomer who gets onto the statistic sheet. Tackled by Chris Gamble as Toomer makes his first catch of the game.
And Amani Toomer's kind of always an afterthought guy. You know, you get your guys, then you come to Amani Toomer. Look at that shoulder pump. He pumps it to the left, comes back to the right, and finds Amani Toomer over there in the sideline. You know, quarterbacks always talk about, you know, not looking, not staring a receiver down, looking them off and doing those things. Eli did it perfectly on that last play.
Eli completing 2/3 of his passes, 12 out of 18 for 124 yards. Caught, Hedgecock, and the fullback will make it a 1st and goal as he gets tackled by Chris Gamble inside the 10-yard line.
So now he's getting great distribution. Guys that hadn't caught passes. I mean, it started with Boss, and then it went to Amani Toomer, and then to Hedgecock. You know, so you can't say this is who he's looking at, this is who he's trying to throw to. Again, this is where they just throw that fade if they had him to Burris, to Plexico Burris.
First and goal.
I think that guy may be Steve Smith.
Inside handoff goes to Jacobs, and Jacobs pulls his way down to the 2-yard line. It'll be second down and goal.
You know what's going to happen when teams play the Giants and they get in the shotgun? They're going to play 8-man fronts. They're going to start playing gap defenses and say, your shotgun is a draw run. Don't give up your run keys just because they're in shotgun.
Second and goal, under 2 minutes to play. Third quarter. Jacobs, and before he can turn it back, he runs smack into Chris Harris.
Or Chris Harris ran smack into him. I mean, usually you say Brandon Jacobs, you want to get low, you want to get below his knees, you want to tackle him at his ankles. Not right here. That is hitting him right in the face. No one tackles Brandon Jacobs like that. Whew. Chris Harris, now you're talking.
Sinuses are cleared.
A lot of things are cleared.
Yeah. Ward flanks Manning. Eli in the gun. Third down and goal. Manning protected. Throws into the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown by Kevin Boss. So Kevin Boss, who caught the key pass early in the drive on a 3rd and 10 after a penalty, makes that drive pay off with a touchdown.
Look at the pass protection here for Eli Manning. That is a perfect pocket. He can sit back there and read and read and read and wait and wait and wait and finally find Kevin Boss.
And now the Giants in a situation with 16 minutes left in the game, down by 2, opt to go for just 1 to make it a 1-point game. So Carney, Beagles dropped it and then was able to get it down. He recovers, and Carney bangs it through. So the Giants settle for trailing by 1. What a drive. 84 yards, 12 plays, 6 runs, 6 passes, 21-20. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Best Buy. You happier. By Frostproof Coors Light. When the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies. And by Ford, Drive 1. Frozen hot chocolates. It's serendipity. Holiday season. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Yeah, to everyone, but how do you have frozen hot chocolate?
Well, you need something before it.
So it's hot, it's not frozen. If it's frozen, it's not hot.
Little hot toddy. Mark Jones to run it back. To the 37, let's go to Andrea.
Well, the field is very icy, but especially the end zone to the left of your TV screen, which was made only worse by all the fans tossing these ice balls down into it. Now, in addition, you guys were talking about how the K-balls looked frozen. Well, I'm told that the guy who holds the K-balls has a pouch into which he puts these heat packs, which is supposed to keep the balls from being frozen. Who knows how much it actually works.
Right, either that or wrap them in a mink stole.
So the guy has it in what?
A pouch. Hey, you know, let's discuss.
So we bring a guy here with a pouch to take care of the K-balls?
Right, after he has the frozen chocolates. Carolina, 3 touchdowns on the first 3 drives. Last 4 drives, half and punch. Also, let's talk about, Tom Coughlin, 16 minutes to go in the game. You're of 2 minds there. He chooses to go for 1, the more conservative way. Could have gone for 2 to tie the game. It's funny. I mean, it's one of those either-ors. There have been a lot of instances through the years guys go for 2. Carolina went for 2 twice in the Super Bowl. Lost the game on a Vinatieri field goal. We saw Pittsburgh lose last year to Jacksonville. So you can make a case for either side, I think.
I was always under the thought, probably like Tom Coughlin, maybe being more conservative. I would have gone for one there, and I always figured that the 2-point was something you didn't start thinking about until the fourth quarter and maybe even the last half of the fourth quarter.
The downside, if you go for two in that situation, is it's 21-19, and then Carolina scores a touchdown. They make it a 2-possession game. At least if Carolina gets a touchdown, and then, assuming they go for the 1-point conversion, which they would, you'd still have a 1-possession game. Giants now reporting Aaron Ross, the cornerback, head injury. Return is questionable. So Kevin Dockery, 35, takes his spot at right corner.
I think the Panthers, like the Giants, just have to stay with their same plan. You see how they have those ends tight. They have their whole formation tight to get them up, and they can pass or run out of that.
Now DeLome throwing deep downfield and incomplete. Coverage good that time. Intended for Steve Smith.
At some point they have to take a shot to Steve Smith, and I thought that maybe the last time they had the ball they had better field position than this. I thought they would do it, but then I remembered that this is a tough way to throw. You're really throwing into the wind, and everything has to be pretty much on a line and tight. You can't put the air under anything.
2nd and 10. Here's Williams. He gets it up to the 42-yard line. Crowd will rise up now, as they always do at Giant Stadium, before a key third down. But this one may come on the other side of the quarter. The play clock and the game clock just about even with each other right now.
Watch number 69, Jordan Gross, why he's in the Pro Bowl. As you say, this is a big down for Steve Spagnuolo, and the way he's played this game tonight, or called this game tonight, the situation.
34, they stack the receivers to the right. To the left goes the throw. It's caught by Musa Mohammed. That's a conversion for a first down. They'll spot the ball at the 50-yard line, and that is the end of the third quarter, and a good game for the #1 seed in the NFC at the Meadowlands. Carolina 21 and the Giants 20. Over that beautiful shot of the skyline of Manhattan. Score by quarters, 21-20 Carolina. We start the fourth quarter. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer at the Meadowlands. Again, the winner of this game will not have to go on the road during the playoffs. They'll get a bye in the first round, then play a game here the weekend of January 10th. And if they win that, the championship game of the NFC on the 17th, either here or in Charlotte. Fake toss to the right, and then Williams gets taken down by Antonio Pierce, who electrifies the crowd on the first play of the fourth period.
Again, that's a thing that you do to a running team. First down, running down. You don't sit and catch all the time. Sometimes you just run blitz, and you want to get your penetration. And again, when you do that and you hit it like Antonio Pierce did on that one, you get the back in the backfield before he gets started.
2nd and 11. D'Angelo Williams. And this time he gets bottled up by the left side of the Giant defense. Justin Tuck is in the game right now. He makes the stop. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 10.
You see Michael Johnson up there, and you talk about loading the box. I mean, look at all those blue jerseys on the line of scrimmage. I mean, that they had 9 men up there, and that was 2nd down. So you think, at some point, if you're going to do that, because Steve Spagnuolo is really pressing for that run, someplace on a running down, Steve Smith has to come up big.
DeLome stepping up, buying time, over the middle, throws, caught this time by Dwayne Jarrett at the 30-yard line. 2nd round pick out of USC last year. Dwayne Jarrett with a big catch and a big conversion.
Yeah, we talk about every 3rd down the Giants have been blitzing. This time they only had a 4-man rush. Again, good pass protection by the Panthers. Look at the time that Jake Delhomme has. He has time to step up and buy time and then pump and then wait until his receiver gets open.
Jared, a teammate of the Giants, Steve Smith at USC. There's Tuck battling the flu on the sideline again from the 30-yard line. Williams will cut it to the outside, pick up a first down. He scored 3 touchdowns tonight, and you can make it 4. D'Angelo Williams into the end zone, and that will silence the crowd. A 30-yard touchdown run.
This guy is really something. I mean, you think you have him, and he just runs right through you, or he runs right around you. Look at this power formation. You have 2 leads, a lead on the left, a lead on the right. He starts to the right, bounces out. Terrible tackling there, but great running by D'Angelo Williams. And you know that anytime you get a big run like that, you're going to have a good block by a wide receiver. And, of course, that guy in the Panthers is going to be Musa Muhammad.
John Casey for the extra point. That's 20 touchdowns this season for the 3rd year back out of Memphis, D'Angelo Williams. And the Panthers are back up on top by 8. Mark it down. Sunday night, the 11th of January, you'll see the 66th annual Golden Globes coming your way right here on the National Broadcasting Company. Lower Manhattan on this frigid night. It's gotten a lot colder in this stadium, too, after that Carolina touchdown, 28-20. Casey's kick, or the kick by Reese Lloyd, taken by Ahmad Bradshaw and brought back to the 23-yard line. So the Giants now have the ball, down by 8, 12:44 left in the 4th. D'Angelo Williams getting a little bit more national exposure of late, and what a mark he has made. Most 30-yard touchdown runs in a season. He's only one behind Jim Brown's record of 7. Brown 7 in 58. Jim had 6 in 63. And for D'Angelo Williams, that last run, 30 yards for a touchdown. 6 30-yard or more touchdown runs this year.
He can sure make tacklers look bad, can't he?
And Manning that time gets taken down by Tyler Brayton, who lets out a whoop as Tyler Brayton comes busting up the middle and gets the sack. Good for 7 yards.
You know, Tyler Brayton's had a pretty good night. Remember early in the game, he was stopping some runs to his side. Here he's working against McKenzie, and you see he gets him on an inside move. He takes his right hand and does a head slap and then goes inside, and he's right on Eli Manning.
Make it 9 yards, sack, 2nd down and 19 with the ball at the 14-yard line. Inside handoff on the ground, and this is Jacobs, and Jacobs busts it out to the 30-yard line. So they line up in a pass formation, run the ball on the 2nd and 17, and he gets it out to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and the big thing on that is the Panthers were in their pass defense too. You see how deep they are. They're back off. They had 5 defensive backs in there, 1 less linebacker. Now that's not a good down and distance to run on, but it sure is a good situation.
Gunn again on an important 3rd down and 3, and they run the toss this time to Ward, and Ward is able to cut it back, and Ward is able to break free, and Ward finally gets taken down by the last man he had to beat. That was Charles Godfrey, but not until he gets to the 33-yard line.
I think Rich Seibert got a heck of a block. He's the left guard, and he's going to come right there. Now that's the big block, and that's the one that sprung Ward. Then he makes a good cut to the inside, and then he just goes down the sideline. Right there, Seibert hits him right there. Now that is a decleater, and then Ward runs right off it.
Ran right over Marshall, 37 yards for Ward on a 3rd down conversion. Jacobs hit initially, fights for a couple of yards, spot the ball at about the 31-yard line, gain of 2, 2nd down and 8.
And the Panthers are still using that 8-man front to stop the run. And Tom Coughlin, like he said the other day, is they can use an 8-man front, but we can block an 8-man front. We are not going to not run just because they do it. And the other thing, he's getting a full game from Brandon Jacobs. That was the thing. Is he going to play? Yeah, probably. But can he give me a full game?
One of the Panthers starting tackles, Damian Lewis, came to the bench holding his shoulder. Gary Gibson will back him up, number 91. And Eli Manning takes a look and calls a timeout. Timeout before a 2nd and 7 and 10:13 to play in the 4th. So next week, the winner goes to the playoffs. The loser doesn't. It's our final Sunday night game of the season. We'll be in San Diego. The Denver Broncos against the San Diego Chargers. Our boys who are so happy for me. I'm happy for them too. They'll be on the pregame show beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, football night in America. Bob, Chris, and the gang. 2nd down and 7. The ball is at the 30-yard line. Back to pass is Manning. He throws to Jacobs, and Jacobs is dropping the ball incomplete. Just for a second it looked like he might have held on, but he did not. Fortunately for the Giants, it'll be 3rd down and 7.
That was one of the things Eli was talking about the other day, is making some quicker throws, throwing the check downs, things like that, to get the ball out of your hand. And when he felt that 8 sacks last week will kind of bring you back to reality, that I better get the ball out of my hands to some playmakers.
3rd and 7. Look out. From behind. Everybody in the building could see that. Julius Peppers. 13.5 sacks now as Peppers comes in nearly untouched. Comes around the defensive right side, around Deal, and sacks Manning.
Well, here it was just a matter of time, and they leave Deal alone. And, they don't have a tight end. They don't have a chip out there. And if you leave him alone too long on Julius Peppers, he is going to come up with a play like that and knock you out of field goal range.
Fiegels to punt. He angles it. It lands at the 5. Can the Giants bat it out? And they can at the 1-yard line. That's Terrell Thomas who gets down there for the bat to pin the Panthers deep. Jeff Fiegels getting some love and some Hall of Fame love. Who knows? You don't see punters going in very much, but that was a beauty, and that came at the perfect time because the Giants right now need to stop the Panthers and get the ball back with decent field position.
You don't see punters going in at all.
No, you don't. And you would know if Ray Guy's not in there. Because he'd be the guy who should be there. D'Angelo Williams out to the 2-yard line. Give them a little breathing room.
It's interesting here. You say, okay, you should gang up on the run if you're the Giants, but you remember you better keep a guy back here because of Steve Smith. If they want to go play action pass and throw deep, that's the other thing you do in this area. But the Giants are guarding against that. They're not going to let him have the deep one to Steve Smith.
2nd and 8. Williams started to slip, but does get out of the end zone. He's tackled there by Barry Cofield. The Giants have 3 safeties this season, ties a team record that was set about 7 decades ago. In fact, 1927 was when it was set. The NFL record is 4.
The goal for the Panthers is to get out to the 5-yard line. Your first goal, so you give your punter 15 yards. Now, do the Giants pressure or not? I don't think they have to. I don't think you have to open up man-on-man coverage to Steve Young to blitz in this situation.
3rd and 8 on the ground. And they'll keep him inside the 5-yard line. Antonio Pierce makes the tackle. So they give Baker just enough breathing room for a conventional kick.
Right, and I think the Giants played that one perfectly. They had as many guys at the line of scrimmage as they could have, but they had a safety deep over the top for Steve Smith.
Baker stands the back line of the end zone. R.W. McQuarters lined up at the 50 to run it back. Good kick. McQuarters at the 46. It's back into Panther territory and out of bounds into the Panther bench at the 44. And you can thank Jeff Fiegels for that. The Giants with good field position. Down by 8 points. 7:09 to play. Tom Coughlin, John Fox. We go to crunch time with 7:09 to play in regulation. Carolina by 8.
I was just going to say, two of the better coaches in the league, and two of the better fundamental coaches. Very, very solid, very well coached team,
and solid game managers as you tick down in the fourth quarter. Now you've got action up front, and a game that's seen one penalty until now for delay of game. We finally get a false start.
False start, 66. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
David Deal.
You know, it's usually the guy after he's beaten on a pass rush. If there's going to be someone that's going to jump on a false start, it'll usually be the last guy that was beaten on a pass rush. Remember Julius Peppers against David Deal.
He'll induce a few of those.
Right, and you see Peppers lining up wide on him and Deal out there all by himself out here. That's a tough situation.
First and 15. That time they help Deal out. They double him. Hickson makes the catch, and Hickson fights his way for a gain of about 12. Giants want a flag for a late hit, but won't get it. They'll spot the ball at the 36-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and 2 after a gain of 13.
And you were right, Allie. The double on Peppers here. If he goes outside, Deal has him. If he comes inside, the left guard, Rich Seibert, has him.
2nd and a deuce. Under 7 to play. Ward is the back. Ward has had a big night, swinging to the outside. And Ward will be stopped at the 37 for a loss of 1, making it 3rd down and 3. Carolina undefeated at home this season. They also won their 2 preseason games on the road, 3-3. The Giants wrapping up their home schedule tonight, 6-1, much better than last year. They'll finish in Minnesota next Sunday on the road, 5-2.
You know, that John Beeson is playing a heck of a game. The middle linebacker for the Panthers is wherever the Giants run, he seems to read it and be one of the first guys there every time.
Number 52, Manning throws, caught, huge conversion, and Toomer stays in bounds and picks up a few more to the 22-yard line with under 6 minutes to play. Amani Toomer, 2nd catch of the game.
Great throw by Eli Manning. You know, sometimes you throw it away from the defender, and that's exactly what he did here. It's not so much to Toomer, but he threw it where there's no way the defender could get it. And then Toomer's run an option thing, and Eli leads him outside away from the defender. And those are two guys that showing that they've played together for quite a while.
1st and 10. Ward takes the toss. Ward stopped at the 20-yard line. That's his 10th carry of the night. He's picked up 124 yards. Jacobs has 81. So the Giants on the ground tonight, a total of 205 yards.
And now the Giants are going to go 3 wide receivers again. They bring in Steve Smith. He'll be in the slot. Only have 1 back. Again, this doesn't always mean pass. You know, at one time it used to shotgun, 3 wide receivers, but now they run draw from this a lot.
Draws, tosses, 2nd and 8. Here's the draw. This is Ward. He'll take it to the 17, and here comes a very big 3rd down and 5 for the Giants.
Because this is a situation here now, if you're Tom Coughlin, and if you don't get the 1st down here, Do you go for it on 4th down, or do you kick the field goal?
On 4th and 1, I might go for it. If I don't get to 4th and 1, I think I kick the field goal because you still have enough time. You have 2 timeouts, and you also have the 2-minute warning. 3rd and 5. In any event, big play.
Right, and Eli Manning is real good at this, hitting those option-type routes.
Over the middle. Boss! Another big play for him, and a first down of the 5. Kevin Boss, who made a 3rd down catch to start a drive that wound up with him catching a touchdown pass, is able to convert here.
And you give Eli Manning a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and he is excellent at finding an open guy. And that guy right now is Kevin Boss. But look at how he looks. I mean, he looks outside, comes back inside, and finds his crosser.
First down, one right.
1st and goal. 3.5 to go.
And now you get Brandon Jacobs back in there.
From the gun. Manning's going to throw to the end zone, and it's incomplete. The coverage by Lucas, and a flag. The Panthers have not had a single pass interference call against them the entire season. Dominic Hickson, the intended receiver. Walt Coleman checking it out.
Pass interference, 21. Defense. Foul occurred in the end zone. We'll place the ball at the 1-yard line. First down.
So they went almost 15 full games without a pass interference call, and now you get one to set up a 1st and goal.
And it's on Ken Lucas, number 21 there, and you can see, watch that left hand there. He just grabbed him.
Jacobs is the tailback. Hedgecock is the blocking back. Brandon Jacobs to the end zone. 3:21, down by 2, and clearly Coughlin will send in his best 2-point play right here.
You talk about to the end zone. That was with Brandon Jacobs. You run a short yardage play, it's to the end zone, and then right through the end zone, and right through everyone that's between you and the end zone. I mean, he is really something. And when he gets going downhill, and he has quick feet too. I mean, he makes little moves within there. He's just not, a guy that just runs straight ahead right into his line. This is a big play here.
Well, 2-point conversion. Manning to line up in the gun. Jacobs is next to him. The fake to Jacobs. The pass to the end zone for the conversion to Dominic Hickson. The New York Giants, 44 yards, 7 plays to tie the game at 28. Hickson for the touchdown again. The Giants with a great defensive stop after Fiegels had pinned Carolina at the 1. 3 and out. The punt gave the Giants the ball at the 44. Key 3rd down pass to Boss. The pass interference on Lucas. They get the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. Whoever gets home field advantage in the NFC will have really earned it. What a game. Kickoff by Carney. Taken by Mark Jones from the 11-yard line. Jones brings the ball back out to the Carolina 38-yard line. 3:15 to go. Panthers have all of their timeouts.
It was real good protection on that 2-point conversion, but what he did, he's going to fake here to Brandon Jacobs. You see, he fakes him. Now that holds the whole defense here and gives him time to work to the outside. Dominic Hickson, again working on Ken Lucas, gets to the inside. Sees the outside receiver, goes up, gets his hand in there, comes underneath. Eli has plenty of time to watch him and get the ball to him.
Cool hand, Eli.
Very cool hand. Cold hand, Eli.
Delhomme checks it down underneath. Caught by Jonathan Stewart. And Stewart able to pick up a first down. Got out of an Antonio Pierce tackle and takes the ball into New York territory to the 49-yard line.
With just under 3 minutes to go. Somewhere in here, you expect that Steve Smith is going to come up with a big play. I mean, we talked earlier how he's one of the best big playmakers in the game, and and he's due right now. Now, they are doubling him. They're keeping a safety up over him. He's down here, but they have a safety up over the top, so it's going to be tough to get deep.
Danny Clark stopping Stewart at the 48-yard line. And the Panthers will be in no hurry to get a play off before the 2-minute warning here. They have the 2-minute warning. They have all of their timeouts. They can control the tempo right here. And Delhomme will come up to the line of scrimmage, looks over toward the bench. But he's just going to take it.
He's not going to snap it.
I was wondering why they even going through the charade of it, because there would have been no upside to running a play before the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. A great one for the #1 seed in the NFC, tied at 28. Next week. Meanwhile, Sunday Night Football brought to you by the GMC Sierra, the official vehicle of the NFL, by Death Race, now on DVD and Blu-ray high def, by Zales, America's diamond store since 1924, and by E-Trade. Coming up after the game, the Wendy's post-game report. Bob, Chris, and the gang. SNF horse trailer player of the game, Andrea, with an interview, and Messrs. Costas and Collinsworth will fast forward to the final week of the season. Meanwhile here, 2nd down and 9. 2 minutes to play. Delhomme with time. Fires over the middle, and it's incomplete. Intended for Smith, and that was Corey Webster right there with the coverage. 3rd and 9.
Great coverage by Corey Webster. I was just thinking that, they don't have to run and up to Steve Smith, that they can get him on a slant or they can get him on a cross. Here they try and get him on the cross, and you see Corey Webster can play underneath a little. Why? Because he has the safety over the top, so he can undercut that thing. Perfect coverage by Corey Webster.
80,000 rise as one. 3rd and 9. Delhomme throws, and that is caught. And that is Muhsin Muhammad for a 1st down. He takes the ball to the 37-yard line. Webster on him that time.
Yeah, we talk about Muhsin Muhammad, being a very good blocker, but he has a big body, so he's good on that slant too. And you see he's on the opposite side. You have the coverage or the zone or the rotation away from that side. Then you get man-to-man on that side and run that slant to Muhsin Muhammad.
Milestone for Muhsin Muhammad, his 800th career catch. 1st and 10, and then Delhomme drops it, but is able to pick it up. And Williams turns what could have been a disaster into almost a 1st down with a flag coming in at the end of the play as Williams takes the ball to the 27-yard line. But the Giants signal that the penalty is going to be against the Panthers. Walt Coleman comes in to break up a fracas.
Tom Coughlin chewing yellow gum.
Yes. Justin Tuck sick with the flu.
Holding, 89, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Steve Smith. The snap, juggled, picked up Williams, then the hold, and meanwhile Tuck is still down on both knees.
Yeah, they never got the ball. The snap never got up there, but when you have a guy like Jake Delhomme, he's going to keep a play alive, and when he can handle it to a guy like D'Angelo Williams, you still have a chance. Here's the hold right here. This is what they call holding here on Steve Smith. Yeah, that's a good hold. Yeah, that's good. It's a doggone takedown. Steve Smith, if you're going to hold, let's hold good. Yeah, Justin Tuck just hasn't been himself all night, and this isn't something here in the fourth quarter. I kind of felt that way in the 1st quarter.
Meanwhile, as you take a look at Tuck, because of the injury in the last 2 minutes, the Giants are compelled to take a timeout. Meanwhile, go back to pregame, 4 or so hours, and to go kicking in that direction. That was Casey kicking a 55-yarder. lot different kicking a 55-yarder at 7 o'clock than at 11:30.
Right, but that's the way they test it. I mean, they see, how much leg they have and what the wind is, and then they'll tell the coach after they kick one, how long can you kick a field goal this direction?
It's 1st and 13 after the holding call from the spot, and that's Michael Johnson tackling Williams at the 40-yard line, and the Giants will now use a timeout. And that's their final timeout. They had to take one on the tuck play. They had to take one early when Manning came up to the line of scrimmage, and the Giants have to conserve the clock here because the worst thing, of course, that can happen is for Carolina to drive down a little farther, leave no time on the clock, and kick a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do there, and that's why you saw the safety Michael Johnson up on the line of scrimmage and making the tackle in the backfield. That you have to press the line of scrimmage here.
Just to update the division leaders, the Giants will either be the 1st or 2nd seed. The Panthers will either be the 1st seed, or that's to be determined because Atlanta could still wind up as number 2. The Vikings can win the North if they beat the Giants next week, or Chicago loses a game. And, of course, Arizona has won the West. Though you'd never know it with their performance today in New England. Justin Tuck comes back into the game. Wildcat formation. D'Angelo Williams, who's done this a lot before, a couple of years ago, takes the snap. And Williams still on his feet and gets pushed into the Giant bench at the 33-yard line, stopping the clock with 54 seconds, setting up a 3rd down and 6.
That's when you know you really believe in something. You get in this situation, you need a play, you put one of your best players, D'Angelo Williams, back there in the Wildcat position, let him run with the ball. Sometimes I think that this is a gimmick, but when you use it in this situation, that gets out of the category of gimmick.
Did it with great effectiveness in the game against Atlanta 2 years ago. Bradshaw wants the crowd to get into it. They don't have to be told. 3rd down and 6 from the 33. And Williams, he's going to get taken down to the 32, and John Casey's going to come out for about a 50-yard field goal attempt. Again, on a cold night, we're looking at the balls before, the K balls, and how hard they seem. Of course, the Panthers right now can let the clock run all the way down to the end of the play clock. There's Tuck in and out of the game all night long with the flu.
Look at him. He's wobbling.
Yeah.
He can't even walk a straight line. I mean, he is really in tough shape.
And it's going to come down to a 50-yard field goal attempt for Casey.
Look how shiny that football is.
Yep.
Those are, again, those K balls. They just use them for kicking. They're not broken in, and they're not. They haven't been in the game other than kicking situations. And as we said, John Casey did kick 155 in this direction in the pregame warm-up. So he does have the leg to get it there.
Quick word from Andrea.
Yeah, the wind is actually blowing toward the Panthers sideline, but again, remember, he will have the wind behind his back as he kicks here, guys.
So does the road to the Super Bowl on the NFC side go through Charlotte, or do we go to overtime in all probability? Jason Baker to hold it. Jason Kyle to snap it. The ball is down. The kick is up. The kick is no good. Wide to the left. Andrea talked about a crosswind blowing toward the Panthers sideline.
Good snap, good hold. And it does look like that wind was going to that side, to the Panthers sideline.
Exactly.
And it just took that ball and just blew it right outside the goalpost. I mean, Casey aimed it right, and the wind just took it away.
Andrea goes to the Weather Channel Hall of Fame after that call.
I was thinking, is it into the wind or away with the wind? And it's a crosswind, and the crosswind came out.
And you can see it right there. Kneel down will take us to overtime. Overtime rules. Of course, the first team to score wins. The game is over. 1 15-minute period, or it can end in a tie. We've been through that this year.
Right.
All reviews from the booth, and a team gets 2 timeouts.
You know what surprised me about that overtime and the rules, the referee will get on the mic and announce what the rules are.
Well, that's after the Philadelphia-Cincinnati game.
No, I know it, but now he will. I mean, Walt Coleman will get on, and after the coin toss, or at the coin toss, he'll tell you what the rules of overtime are.
Well, a half century ago, next Sunday, what's called the greatest game ever played. It's the Colt Giant overtime game in the Bronx.
We're going to play a 15-minute overtime period. First team who scores wins. Nobody scores, the game ends in a tie. Each team will get 2 timeouts. Timing will be like the 4th quarter. Replay will be handled in the booth. Carolina is the visitors. We're going to call the coin. What's your choice?
Heads.
He called heads. It is the tails. Giants want the ball. With the ball.
Looked like Eli Manning said, "Oh my goodness."
Or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Overtime when we come back. With a temperature at 29, Al Michaels, John Madden, and Andrea Kramer as we go to overtime to determine who has the #1 seed in the NFC. Giants to receive. Reese Lloyd to kick off for John Fox's team. Ahmad Bradshaw back for the Giants. Good kick. 6 yards in. Bradshaw takes a knee, and Eli and the offense will go to work at the 20. You know what I love, John? When they came out for the coin toss, the guys that came out, you can see them kind of like smiling and nodding. It doesn't matter what the sport is. When you're in the middle or toward the end of a great game, it's almost like the players just say to each other, "Hey, buddy, you know, what a game." They almost enjoy it as much as the fans in a way.
That was good, and the respect that they have for each other. I mean, I think this is something that's great about this game. You fight, you play hard, and you do everything you can to win, but you still respect the guy you're playing against, especially when both teams have played so well.
Very collegiate. Ward is the running back here. They give it to him. Big night for Ward. And they'll tack on 6 more yards. Ward tonight with 133 yards on 12 carries.
I think this is the type of thing where both teams have to stay with their plan. I mean, you know what you did in the first quarter, you can still do in overtime. I mean, there's no rush. You have plenty of time. You just do what you think is best against their defense.
2nd down and 4. Double tight end set. Matthews lines up on the right side. We got Boss in the slot. And the pass is high. Intended for Hickson. Dominic Hickson. It's incomplete. So it's 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, that was Hickson on Lucas, which was the same play that they scored the 2-point conversion on. It's the same thing. He just kind of runs a slant, and the ball came out a little hot for Eli Manning there. Neither one of these quarterbacks have really made many bad throws tonight. I mean, you think of the conditions and the frozen football and all those things, and both of these guys have been pretty accurate.
No interceptions in the game. A near one by Aaron Ross earlier. 3rd down and 4. Manning throws. That's high, and that's almost a near pick as well. Amani Toomer was the intended receiver. Godfrey with the coverage on the play. So the Giants have a 3 and out.
Yeah, so Eli Manning made 2 high throws in a row. The slant over there to Hickson, and then came right back with this one.
Jeff Fiegels to punt. Mark Jones standing at his own 30. High floater, 26-yard line for Jones. Swinging to the outside, trying to get around the corner and does, and then gets taken down up at the 38-yard line. The tackle is made there by Terrell Thomas, who's had a big night on special teams. He was the guy that batted that punt by Fiegels out at the 1-yard line, and the Giants eventually had that short field and went in for the tying score.
And now you talk about guys that have, had big nights. How about D'Angelo Williams and his running now? And again, Steve Smith. I mean, I still think that before this is over, he's going to have an opportunity to make a big play.
Steve Smith did not catch a pass in the second half. They go with Jonathan Stewart as the running back, the rookie. They give it to him. Up to the 44-yard line. Danny Clark, the outside linebacker, making the tackle.
And it's just a matter of time, because that's what their offense is. I mean, this is a good offensive line that has really dominated tonight. Good running backs, a good running game, and then a big play guy in Steve Smith. And they've used the offensive line part of it. They use the running game part of it. But I still think that there's this third part right here.
That is D'Angelo Williams behind the dark visor. On the bench right now as they go with a rookie out of Oregon, and that's Stewart up to the 46-yard line. Justin Tuck makes the tackle. It's like saying big tight end. You're always saying key third down. In overtime, every third down is a key third down.
Right, and then, what do the Giants do again here? We've seen them do two things. We've seen them, just rush four and try, the 7-man coverage, or we've seen them earlier in the game. Every time they had this situation, Steve Spagnuolo there would come with pressure, and I would guess that he's going to on this play here.
3rd and 3 with Williams as the running back.
Yep.
He stays in the block, and DeLone's pass is incomplete, intended for Muhsin Muhammad. Kevin Dockery breaks it up, and the Panthers are forced to punt.
Well, you just know, Steve Spagnuolo, that, when he gets in this third down situation, bring the pressure comes. The Panthers do a good job of picking it up. Jake Delhomme makes that throw, and Dockery is right there to knock it down. Good coverage by Kevin Dockery.
Jason Baker to kick. R.W. McQuarters back for New York. McQuarters muffs it at the 19-yard line, and then with everybody holding their breath, is able to get it back at the 13-yard line. R.W. McQuarters, it looked as he came up to make the catch. I thought he was going to signal for a fair catch. He didn't, and then, of course, almost a disaster.
And, we talk about all the different things that weather does and wind does, and it really plays havoc with a punt returner, because that ball will jump around on you. And it looked like right at the end, it just went off to the left on R.W.
R.W. McQuarters pushed aside by Richard Marshall and able to get it back at the 13.
He can't get his deal on.
Oh, boy.
Can't get the cape on. It's so windy.
Derek Ward, the running back here. The ball is at the 13-yard line. Through the middle. Ward to the 40, to the 50. And the last man to get him, number 21, Ken Lucas, is able to shove him out of bounds at the 34.
That's what you have to do. Stay with your run. Stay with your run. The Giants started out tonight saying they were going to do it, and they didn't. Watch Rich Seibert here. He's the left guard. He's going to pull around. He gets a block right there on John Beeson, the middle linebacker, and that's the block that was springing to Derek Ward. Watch Seibert here, the left guard, come around and make boom right there on John Beeson, and then Derek Ward can cut right off that.
51 yards. Now they give it to Earth after Wind had taken the ball all the way to the 36, and Jacobs takes the ball to the 33-yard line. Ward with 184 yards. Best night of his career, 14 yards per carry.
And Brandon Jacobs really helps that. You know, he comes in and does a hammering, then Ward can come in as a change of pace, but I still say this Giant offensive line is back to what the Giant offensive line was a month and 2 months ago.
The Giants have rushed for 268 yards. Manning's throw is errant, intended for Dominic Hickson. And it is 3rd down and 7. There is Carney loosening up. If the Giants don't gain a yard here, you'd be looking at about a 50-yard field goal into a tougher direction than Casey missed a 50-yarder. Casey went the other way. This is toward the south end zone.
They said again they'll get in the shotgun, go 3 wide receivers, and this can still be a run threat. This can still be a draw.
And it is to Ward. And Ward is going to pick up the first down and take the ball to the 19. Derek Ward, 198 yards on the ground tonight.
And again, these running backs are doing a heck of a job, but as Tom Coughlin says, we have to stay with our run, stay with our run. They did. That time they had a guard pull, plus the tight end, Kevin Boss, gets a little block right there to spring Derek Ward.
Kevin Boss with a big block. Boy, Boss has had some big-time plays tonight. And the Panthers are going to take a timeout. Carolina
Team timeout.
Takes a timeout. You get 2 in overtime. 4:29 into OT. Giants in field goal range. Game is tied. Ward 14 carries for 198. 65 yards on this drive, John. His runs.
Here it is. The first one is I formation. That's called a lead power O. The O with Rich Seibert. Then you come back here again with a shotgun and the draw, and again pulling the guard, and that's power football. But the thing that I'm impressed with is the Giants knew that they had to get back to this, and they talked all week about it. But then they came out and did it. Tom Coughlin says we're a running team. We have a running offensive line, and no matter what happens, we have to stay with it. And I've really been impressed with the way that they've stayed with the run. Obviously, it's easier to stay with when you have success with it.
From the 19. If the Giants don't gain another yard, Carney's looking at a 37-yard field goal. Ward behind Hitchcock. Give it to him. He's over 200. He's inside the 10. He sets up a 1st and goal. On a windy night, it's wind of earth, wind, and fire. 216 yards for Derek Ward.
Well, again, this offensive line is just worn down this Panther defense, and they're having their way now. And it's the offensive line, it's the offensive lineman pulling, and it's the leading of Madison Hedgecock. And I think, somewhere when you talk about a good offensive line, you can either have a tight end or a fullback. In the Giants' case, it's fullback.
They'll try to end it with a touchdown. Brandon Jacobs to the end zone and cementing home field for the NFC playoffs.
What a game.
What a game. The Giants were their most rushing yards in a game since 1959. And we started by saying, what do the Giants have to do to get the magic back? And you said, run the ball behind that offensive line. Did they ever? The Giants tonight on the ground, 301 yards.
And I would say that they got the magic back, they got the confidence back, they got the swagger back, because this offensive line and these running backs took control of this game. And look at Brandon Jacobs. There's no quit in him. There's no way that he is going to be down until he gets to that end zone.
Brandon Jacobs pretty much saying, I don't want to travel in January. They've guaranteed that.
Right. Let's finish this thing off right here.
And Jacobs showing Ward the ball, the two of them. 3 touchdowns on the ground tonight for Jacobs. Ward did not get into the end zone on the ground, but all he did is gain 215 yards on 15 carries. And for Eli, he made the big plays when he needed to, especially on that one drive. Kevin Boss on that early 3rd down, and then the touchdown came on a 3rd down to Boss as well. 2-point conversion to Hickson. It was a struggle, but the Giants will be home for the playoffs. In overtime, in a beauty, the Giants beat the Panthers 34-28.